the truth.
What's good, everybody? Episode 4 of Audio Theory. We're back. As you can see, we're rocking our Marathon Continues fits. They took They took like a year and a half to get here. Nipsey was still alive basically when we ordered this shit. That's how long it took. Rest in peace to Nipsey, but
rest in peace.
I'm so glad the fits finally came.
And they fit good.
Yeah, they fit good.
I'm happy with
I'm from LA, and I think mine even took like 2 or 3 months to come. And yours took what, 6?
Yeah, so the story was, obviously Blair and I, big Nipsey's fan. Blair more than myself. I learned more about him when he passed. But you live literally 20 minutes away from the store?
Yeah.
And you guys joined 2 months later.
Basically,
after he passed away.
Yep.
And then I ordered mine the same day he ordered his, so April 7th. And I got mine 3 days ago. And today is August 20th.
I thought your shit was long gone. I was like, he's never getting it. You might as well go to teespring.com and just create it from scratch.
Yo, I should have just gone to fucking custom ink and be like, yo, Crenshaw.
But the thing is, I felt kind of bad just because it's unfortunate that he had these surge of orders after he passed. And my brother, who is a fan of him, ordered his stuff maybe 2 years ago. But I personally, I just don't buy t-shirts and stuff that are over $30. So for me, it wasn't even on my mind to support any artists in that fashion, really. I'll support through music and concerts and whatnot, but I won't necessarily buy merchandise that's, this jersey's what, $120 or something.
That's how much that was?
Yeah.
Damn, man. You went full support. You were like, yo, rest in peace, dude. I got you.
I'm not gonna lie though, the quality is top notch. This isn't some Amazon Prime from China shit. This is, the quality on this is incredible. So I think it was worth it, but at the same time, I can't go on a shopping spree on his store because I'll go broke.
I got this and I got a tank top, but I do like the little details, bro. So the TMC flag, if you can see that. But then it also has one on the bottom that says the marathon, but then if you flip it, it says run a lap. I'm like, that's
shit.
You see that?
That's a Easter egg. I didn't notice that.
So I like it. Yeah, this is so this shirt cost me $40. But yeah, it's good quality, bro. It's not some Hanes shit that they just put a sticker on. So I'm not gonna dry it because I know if I dry it, it's fucked. But I'm gonna air dry this bitch. All right, so it's episode 4. We're excited. As promised, we're going to give you guys what we're listening to so you guys have some things to pay attention to. This part of the episode is called Heat of the Week. My guy. So what are you listening to right now?
All right. Honestly, so for whatever reason, this song, in my opinion, should have been basically the summer jam. And that's Tory Lanez Freaky. Yeah, I'm still playing it. I don't remember when it actually officially got released. I think it was
came out 6 months ago, bro.
Yeah, it came out in March or some shit.
Yeah. Nipsey heard it.
But every time I put it on, yeah, Nipsey heard it. Damn it, that's crazy if it was that long ago because it feels like it came out yesterday.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like it deserves it. But yeah, Tory Lanez Freaky. I don't know, it just slaps. The beat's perfect. He flows on it perfectly. Low-key, he did bite Rich the Kid's style.
But see, that's my biggest... Again, that's a good Heat of the Week because I'm also a Tory Lanez fan, but my biggest critique of Tory Lanez is that, bro, I feel like he doesn't have his own style.
Yeah.
His style is biting whatever's kind of hot and making it his own.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really have that's... You know what I mean? That's kind of my take.
And I think that's the general consensus too. Even he's aware of it. He mentioned it in a song with Rich the Kid, ironically. He's he said, niggas say I bite their flows, I'm gonna bite your bitch or something like that. But he does it well, so I guess people just ignore it.
Yeah,
he's good at
girls love him.
Yeah, and he makes bangers, so I can't necessarily knock him for it. But that specific track, I just thought was completely overlooked for whatever reason. And for me, I still bump it. So I wanted to, since summer's coming to an end in like a week, I wanted to give it the highlight.
Yeah, so your heat of the week for Blair is Freaky by Tory Lanez. All right, so I have an extended heat of the week because I have to first and foremost apologize for my episode 2 comment about Chance the Rapper and his album Big Day. I'm going to admit I may have been in my emotions that week, but that was actually, as I went back and heard the album, bro, this album's a fucking classic, bro. Like, it's actually,
classic? Wait, damn,
bro,
you went from trash to classic. That's a big gap.
That's a big gap. And the gap is my emotional state that week, bro. Like, I just... Bro, I don't know what I was thinking. I must have been in a bad mood at work or whatever, bro. I gave that album 0 hopes the first go through. And then, dude, I don't know what... It came on while I was at the gym. I listen to all my music at the gym. Like, because I don't, my car ride to work is 2 minutes. I can never listen to the car. So at the gym, I really zone in. And bro, I heard that entire thing from front to end. Bro, minimal skippable records, 4 or 5 just bangers. So I apologize. Please go listen to Chance the Rapper's Big Day. It is worth the listen. Disregard what I said in episode 2.
Wait, so that just on your second listen, what exactly did you appreciate more compared to the first listen?
Everything. So I guess like the thing is like, yo, he's a happy dude. So like if you're not really, it's kind of almost like if you're not really in the mood to J. Cole, like just educate you. You're like, bro, I got time for this shit right now.
Yeah. Misery loves company. You better speak about some emo shit right now.
Yes, bro. Tell me about how your life sucks, bro. And he's like, I love my wife. I love my life. I'm just like, bro, fuck this. So, yeah, but no, it's a fire album, bro. He had a song with Megan Thee Stallion, a song called Big Fish with Gucci Mane. Yo, it's fire. I'm telling you, it's a lot of tracks.
Yeah. And
he has some subtle skits with like old comedians from back in the day. You'll recognize right away. Like it's very good.
That handsome is the handsome song, the one with Megan Thee Stallion? Yep. That one's pretty dope. I like it.
Bro, banger.
Yeah.
All right. So now my heat of the week. So now my second point on this while we're on this subject. So not heat of the week, but an honorable mention. The new Taylor Swift album, not terrible. Not terrible.
You know who's gonna like that once she hears that you brought that up?
We're not naming names.
I've been hearing that shit literally for the past 24 hours because I was over there. But no, Taylor Swift, I mean, I can't speak on her as a human being because I don't know her and I don't know like whose side of the story to take with all this drama she has with like Kanye and shit. But as a musician, I'll do that too. But as a musician, I think she is very talented. There's no denying that.
Yeah, I mean,
she makes
she's
pop bangers.
She's not writing these songs, first of all.
Yeah.
That's if she says she is, good for her, but I don't think she is. But just listening to an entire album of hers for like the first time ever, because I was like cleaning the house and I know everyone was fucking talking about it on Friday. I was like, let me just put this shit on. Dude, not bad. Like 2 or 3 songs I'd be like, you know what? Good for you. So honorable mention, not heat of the week. So my heat of the week, another female artist. So let's keep that theme going. But the most aggressive thing to compare Taylor Swift to, because she's not like Taylor Swift at all. Young M.A. Big. That track, bro. Have you heard it?
I've heard it.
Bro.
So it's not, she released just one record? It wasn't a whole album or mixtape or anything?
So heat of the week, just one song. If you listen, it's 3.5 minutes. Young M.A. Big. Yo.
I do like it. It wasn't on my like replayable, like I wasn't bumping this shit repeatedly or anything.
So I heard it once in my car like a week ago, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and let it rock. Bro, if you listen to it back to back, you will end up listening to it 20 times in a row. Like, this shit is hard, bro. Like, no.
The worst part is I heard about the song from like a fucking Fashion Nova ad or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't even like she posted or like some other rapper promoted it. It was a fucking Fashion Nova ad, and I was like, oh shit, what song is that?
I honestly heard it from my nephew, and he's fucking 19, and he was listening to it. So I was like, yo, what is this?
Nice.
And he's like, that's the new Young M.A. And I was like, oh, she still makes music? Because I haven't heard a song from her. Bro, but yo, I hear that shit at the gym. Yo, I'm finishing my last 2 presses strong, bro. That shit is... That's actually... If your summer's... the song of the rest of summer for you is Freaky, for me is big, bro. That shit is... That's a big one for me.
Nice.
No
that's saying a lot. I mean, Young M.A. is pretty underrated. She unfortunately kind of felt behind the scenes after Ooh.
Yeah.
And she hasn't been able to recreate that for whatever reason.
Yeah. But I mean, this may be that moment she needed, bro, because it's weird because guys respect her because she's like a lesbian for whatever reason. Like, I don't know how that rule.
I think it's because dudes in general don't want to hear about like fucking giving top and riding dicks and shit. So when she raps about eating pussy or whatever it is, dudes just say, "Oh shit, I do that too.
I do that too.
Oh, we could be friends." So like it just works out that way. But it gets kind of weird when she starts talking about fucking whatever chick she's with deep throating dildos and stuff. I'm like, yo. Yeah. At that point, you can't relate. Like relatability goes out the window.
I'm like, ooh. But yeah, that's our heat of the week. We'll have an update on. Is there anything else that stood out to you this past the drops that came out a couple weeks ago that you were listening to?
The G-Eazy B-sides, like EP or mixtape, whatever you want to call it. I honestly haven't finished listening to it. I know you don't fuck with him like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a chance.
Yeah. By the episode 100, we're gonna have you.
I'm gonna know every lyric.
G-Eazy fan. You're gonna know more about him than me. That's the plan. But his it was pretty good. I can see why people wouldn't necessarily fuck with it because a lot of it is just like a very specific like Bay Area, not even LA, just like Bay Area sound. So
is that where he's from?
Yeah, he's from the Bay. So if there's a very specific like beat and cadence that comes with it, and if you don't fuck with that, then you're not gonna fuck with most of what he does.
Gotcha.
But I think they kind of pushed him into that lane, like fucking club bangers, like YG style stuff that you can only listen to so many times. But that was the only thing that came to mind, other than just these one-off singles that I've been listening to low key. I have a lot of unknown random artists that I've come across through like the Spotify algorithm that and these artists haven't come to the forefront of the scene yet. So over time I'm probably gonna continue to use those as my heat of the week, just because I feel like they deserve some shine.
It could be like a best like unknowns segment or something like that.
Yep, for sure.
I think something that stood out to me that again, not heat of the week, I'm sticking to Young M.A., but something that stood out to me that was pretty good, man, as on my second go around was the Rick Ross Port of Miami 2.
Yeah, no, that album was good. I have to listen to it again, but it sounded like he stuck to his lane. Like he didn't try anything super crazy. Like he chose those very classy, like mobster style, romantic, soulful beats.
100%, dude. And that shit had me debating about like, yo, let me just go sell drugs, bro. Like, let me just go do that shit. Like, that just seems way more fun than what I do right now.
Right.
So yeah, shout out to Ross. Port of Miami 2 definitely delivered for me. There's a lot of fucking albums coming out, bro. It's hard to keep up. I think the Jeezy one, I'm definitely gonna check out because of you. But yeah, if you listen to Rick Ross again, I think you'll enjoy it even that much more.
Speaking of new albums, I know I brought up Rich the Kid a couple episodes back. I think he posted a picture on Instagram saying he's basically saying his girl Tory Bricks or whatever was pressuring him to release his new album. So he might have A World Is Yours.
3?
Is that what it's called? Yeah, 3 coming out. So we'll see.
Nice. She's so bad, dude. She's so fucking attractive.
I know. I was like, damn. I don't know what the fuck he did to land that, but
facts, bro. So if he's
shout
like, you need an album to stay with me, how are we gonna
she probably fucking made him name the album that shit.
Probably.
Like, you gotta give me the world, otherwise you're not releasing shit.
Facts. Yo, tell the people at home what we're drinking over there.
Oh, this is boba. I don't know if you're familiar with the Asian hype in LA, but everybody loves this shit, and I'm pissed off because the straw they gave me, I'm unable to fucking drink it, so I'm sipping it without a top. So if you see me doing that, don't get annoyed for me not using straws. But I'm also saving the environment, so you can't really hate me for it.
The Amazon is burning people.
That too. That's crazy. I still feel like people don't give a fuck. Like, How many articles can
This
they
is
can
my
literally
thing.
say the world is ending tomorrow and people will be like, fuck it.
Bro, but this is my thing. So I didn't know much about it. Like the entire world fucking apparently this happened for 3 weeks and no one fucking knew.
Yeah.
But bro, my thing is that Monday and Tuesday, it was the only news coming out though, right? Like finally. And bro, Wednesday, the internet's like, you know what? We're over this shit. Popeye's chicken sandwich, go. And
Now that I think about it, that's insane. Thinking about my weekend, I'm like, Popeyes was more on my mind than the Amazon. How sick is that?
I drove by a fucking Popeyes near me. The fucking drive-thru was 2 miles deep, bro.
Bro, do people... Am I just a bad black person? I don't give a fuck about chicken that much.
Yo.
Shit.
But yo, it's not just black people, bro. It's everybody, bro. Like, everyone's
People
in
were
that
talking
line.
about it at work. I'm like, I don't even fuck with Chick-fil-A like that. And Chick-fil-A's pretty good. And there's one literally like 3 blocks from my work. I just do
Chick-fil-A or
Popeyes? Chick-fil-A.
Bro, like yo,
I don't know.
It's real. Like, it's like a fucking someone just dropped like a fucking sneaker like at fucking midnight that you have to go fucking wait in line for 20 hours. Like, bro, like
it's just so
crazy.
stupid when you think about it. It's like all you're doing is taking chicken that you already sell and throwing a fucking bun around it, and now people are dropping everything they're doing to buy this shit. Meanwhile, we're all gonna die tomorrow because there's no fucking trees in the Amazon.
Bro, but that's how crazy the internet is to me, bro. Like, I get scared sometimes. Like, yo, we legit were panicking for 2 days straight. Like, yo, we can't breathe. We're gonna die. And it's like, yo, but I need some fucking chicken right now. I don't know why.
Right? It's ridiculous. I don't understand people. Sometimes I think I'm a fucking alien because I'm like, I just feel so different in these situations.
Yo,
this is all like middle
no
America
point.
shit too.
Throughout this hype, have I felt the need to go to Popeyes, bro? I'm like,
Never.
bro, it's just a sandwich.
I still have never been to Popeyes, Wingstop, none of these places.
Yo, Wingstop is fire, bro. You're missing out.
I need to try that out, and it's only like half a mile away from me.
Yo, lemon pepper wings. Shout out to Rick Ross again. That shit's fire.
He still owns what, like 50 of them?
Bro, he's making millions just off Wingstop alone.
These are the stories that need to come out because when we think of rappers, all we think about is fucking alcohol brands,
Ciroc.
and clothing, and that's it. Like nothing else. Meanwhile, you got Rick Ross owning like fucking all these Wingstops and
Checkers.
Yeah.
They got Checkers out there?
No, not as far as I know. Maybe like in one of those random pit stops on the way to Vegas or something.
All right. Well, that's our heat of the week and our views on what's happening in the world today. We're fucked pretty much. But we wanted to call this episode "The Marathon Continues." It's not a coincidence.
That's literally. I have to stop you, but that's literally heat of the week because the fucking Amazon's on fire.
Yo, facts. All right, so we wanted to call this episode 4, "The Marathon Continues." So we're rocking our Nipsey merch. So I mean, dude, it's been almost 5 months now since he passed. Rest in peace. Like,
yeah.
How do you think people are viewing him? Are you thinking that he's being too hyped up? Like, what are your takes right now on the whole like Nipsey hype, pretty much?
I don't think he's too hyped up. I just think people who respect hip hop feel the urge to treat him like Jesus, basically, in his honor. So it gets a little uncomfortable sometimes because you have people who like never vocally fucked with him that much, who all of a sudden are like, oh yeah, he was the next Messiah and shit. And
yeah,
I think in those cases it's uncomfortable in the sense of, you know, we didn't show him that love prior to his death. And I get it, but at the same time, I think some rappers just feel like they have to co-sign him just because it's almost like saying you don't like Pac or Biggie. Like, you're just gonna be blackballed if you don't show this fake love. And that's why I kind of respect NBA Youngboy when people asked him. I don't know if you saw that clip, but people asked him if he how Nipsey's death impacted him. He's like, honestly, I didn't really know much about him. God bless his family, but you know, I can't say much. As opposed to being like, oh my God, like, you know, he was the GOAT and blah blah blah, just trying to show fake love. But I do think Nipsey definitely warrants a very high level of respect for everything he's done within the community, because I feel like a lot of rappers won't necessarily walk the walk. So he'll definitely be remembered as somebody who literally physically changed his community block with the Marathon brand. And forever you're going to see that, how he changed his community, his actual community, which is crazy. And he wasn't like a $1 billion rapper either. It's not like he was, at Jay-Z heights where he had just, millions to toss around. He was just a lot smarter
than most rappers. Like, it was actually like investments and like, yo, I'm going to get a return. Then from that return, I'm going to use it here. And then from the return there, I'm going to use it there. Like, it wasn't just like, hey, let me just throw my money away and see what happens.
Right.
So when did you musically, though, get into like his music? Like, when were you actually like bumping that shit?
So my brother was actually friends with his original manager. This was back in like 2009, I think.
All right, so we're still in college.
Still in college. And he's like, yo, there's just this Crip rapper who's pretty dope. Check him out. And I listened to his MySpace music and I was like, yo, this is actually like really good. Like, his content is gangbang music, but you could see how intellectual he was at the same time. He wasn't just rapping about shooting people and shit. It was like there was a storytelling aspect behind it. You knew his mindset was, transitioning from that lifestyle to making money in a way that would change himself and the people around him. So I kind of, just stuck to listening to his music, and always thought he was gonna. I was hoping he was gonna make it to the mainstream, but I wasn't too sure. And even his manager and everyone else, I guess, felt skeptical because he was gang banging so hard. He was like a YG, basically. Like, everything was cripped out. And eventually Game did a remix to one of his songs that made it to the radio. And ever since that happened, I was like, okay, he'll probably transition to like maybe a Snoop. Yeah. And, like, start rapping about weed or whatever else. But he kind of stuck to his own lane. And ever since then, I just had a high level of respect for him. And it wasn't until Jay-Z, I think, bought like 100 of his mixtapes for like $1,000 or something. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, okay, if Jay-Z's co-signing him at this level, like his destiny is a whole lot greater than I thought it was. I was thinking of him just from like a musical level, like cool LA cat rhyming about gang life in a unique way. And then Jay-Z co-signed him, and then he like had this like boss mentality and tried to like change the game. So ever since then, I was like, oh, he's onto something else. Nice. And I'm not gonna lie and pretend like he was my favorite rapper at any point or anything, but he was always kind of like I don't think anyone
can genuinely say that he was their favorite rapper, right? Like, I don't think anyone's saying that right now. Yeah. Besides, obviously, like maybe his family.
Right. Like, for me, he was like, if you want to listen to some hard shit that wasn't just straight ignorance, like, that was the go-to person, because he was spitting a lot of game and advice for people.
Dude, I remember like one of the best interviews I heard about him was like, yo, if you listen to like some of the songs on Victory Lap or even prior shit, it's like, yo, you're getting like a fucking TED Talk over some fucking deep
That's
shit.
A good way to put it, yeah. Like a hood TED Talk or something.
Yeah. So for me, like, honestly, my first album of his listening to from cover to cover was Victory Lap, but not after he died though. When he got nominated for the Grammy. So that's why, like, in hindsight, I'm sad that he passed away, like, obviously, but like, at least he got that though, right? He was alive to go to the Grammys, like, bro, like, your shit was a classic, bro, and like, you need to know that, and like, at least he knew that, because like, he was there, right? He got nominated, like, he was at the fucking award show. Yeah. So I heard that album, and then I was like, oh, this shit is dope. And then, but I wasn't a huge fan, like, I'll be completely honest. I heard the album and I was like, yo, this shit is great. And then he died, bro, and I was in Belize, and I had like fucking 7 hours before my flights, I just fucking downloaded all his fucking music. And I listened to all that shit. His fucking I think it was that mixtape that went and sold for fucking 1,000 copies each. Fuck, what's it called? Was it Crenshaw? Fuck.
Shit, it might have been called the
Marathon. It is Crenshaw. Yeah,
Crenshaw?
Yeah, it came out in 2013. And yo, the production level in that fucking mixtape, bro, with that track, like You See Us, and the shit with fucking Rick Ross, I was like, oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
This shit came out like 5 years ago. I'm like, yo, or 6 years ago, I'm like, yo, why did I not know about this? So I was kind of like mad at myself. I'm like, bro, like, how the fuck were you not listening to this shit back then?
Yeah.
And then I had like a night to myself. I think I told you before. had a night to myself on the couch. Like, yo, I'm talking about like, don't want to go to sleep, don't have work tomorrow. Let me just fucking go on YouTube and like waste my mind. But I didn't waste my mind. I started YouTubing a bunch of fucking Nipsey interviews. And I was like, bro, this kid is a fucking genius. Like, the shit he was saying like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was like, bro, like, what the fuck? So,
yeah.
I mean, it says something about mainstream media. Like, why wasn't this shit more mainstream, like, before? Like, why did we have to wait till he died to fucking, like, oh my God, like, did you know about this, that? But,
yeah.
But yeah, again, I would never say he's my favorite rapper. I would say he has a lot of songs that are fucking great. I genuinely believe, I believed this before, that Victory Lap is a fucking classic album. Because, bro, there's maybe, like, one song I would skip. And even that one still kind of bangs to me. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah. I really think Victory Lap's a fucking great album. I don't think he's being overhyped. I get what you said about the whole, like, because we were talking about, we saw an interview with Charlamagne the God, I think Snoop Dogg, right? And Snoop Dogg and Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude, but I kind of get what he's saying, bro, because, again, as a Christian man, like, I didn't know Jesus, but I show up every Sunday trying to figure out who the hell he is. You know what I mean? So I get, like, that thing, like, yo, maybe you didn't know Nipsey, but, like, now you're getting to know him and you want to find out more and more and more. And, like, it's for the culture to fucking keep raising him up so people know more and more about him the same way, like, Christians raise up Jesus. So, like, you never met him, you never met him face to face, but you can believe in him. And so, you know, all we have is his music and the shit he stood by. So I get the comparison, but it also is very uneasy to compare a fucking human being to, you know, Bible.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's more so not even just the Jesus thing, but the Pac comparisons. And my issue is not necessarily comparing him to Pac. It's more so, I don't think that should always be like the measuring stick. It's like anytime a rapper dies, it's like, oh, he was the next Pac. Like, why can't Nip be Nip? Because Nip did his own thing. Like, I'm sure he idolized Pac in some ways. I could be wrong, but Nip deserves his own legacy, and I don't feel like someone like that should have to be like in the shadow of Pac. Like, Pac's the only rapper that ever did anything ever for anyone.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, bro. It's like almost like the again, I played basketball growing up and I'm a huge basketball fan. So it's almost like, oh, he's good in basketball, so he's the next Michael Jordan. It's like, yo, he could be the next LeBron, or he could be LeBron. He doesn't have to be like, or be Kobe. Like, you could just be the fucking great player and just be you.
Right. And then the Jesus thing, I guess I don't have a problem with the comparison so long as the rappers specifically who put him on that pedestal try to implement some of the same things that he did, rather than just like, oh, I'm gonna take the easy way out and call him Jesus and pretend like that's enough work. Like, for instance, Nick Cannon, I think, has vowed to like finish the Dr. Sebi documentary and stuff, rather than just sitting around and like fucking holding a blue rag up saying, you know, Nip like Crip Jesus or whatever the case may be. So I'm hoping, instead of taking the easy way out and just saying, yeah, he was Pac or he was Jesus, like, they'll actually rebuild their own communities. And I'm sure a lot of these rappers have charities and stuff that we don't even really hear about, but I'm hoping the ones who have the time and resources to do that will do that, instead of you know, wilding out at the club spending like $200K a night, whatever the case is.
I think, and that's, I mean, again, we have shared love for certain podcasts, so we both listen to Brilliant Idiots, kind of the reason why we started doing this ourselves. And like, I feel like the episode after he died, when they had I think Wayno from Everyday Struggle on it, and the biggest, like, dude, there was an hour episode and no one was talking about his music. It's like, bro, like, we just let one of the best human beings die. Like, like, what the fuck? Like, but they never said, yo, the album was the best. They never said, yo, we just lost a great fucking like lyricist. It was like, bro, like, we just let a fucking great human being just get killed, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with this world, right? So, and that's the biggest thing. Like, yeah, like, I feel like he set the example for like, yo, you can have money, but like, bro, it's like what you do with that, and like why you need to help other people out, because like they're fucked if you don't. So I feel like that's the biggest takeaway for me, at least, because like, like all the interviews I saw about him, maybe like, except for like one that was fucking great, like when he was just like breaking down every song about the album. But dude, every interview he's just talking about like how we need to fucking improve like all the systemic bullshit we have in this country, and it's like, damn, that's fucking, like, you wouldn't expect it, right? I'm a fucking 28-year-old, 29-year-old rapper at the time. Like, you wouldn't expect like that's what they're focused on.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yep. R.I.P. Nip.
So obviously, a lot of his hype though just did come though because unfortunately, like it's just natural when someone dies, like I did. You want to go back and kind of have revised history at times when like you try to listen to all their music. So do you think like death naturally just hypes artists up in some kind of way?
I mean, I'd have to say absolutely, just because it's inevitable. I think when any human being dies, your instant reaction is to think of all the amazing things that they contributed to your life or the lives of other people. So there's no, I think that's just a natural human tendency, is when something's gone, you appreciate it that much more. So I can't knock anyone for, like, you know, after his passing, going to his whole catalog and re-listening to it and being like, damn, like he was a real one. But I think we do have living legends who, like, we know for a fact before they pass, you know, we're gonna treat them the same way, like Lil Wayne and Jay-Z. There's no telling that I mean, we can't doubt the fact that they're already living legends. Like, I think people already put them at that, hold them to that status as it is. So I think when they pass, they'll have a similar reaction. But I think this case is more prominent when it's like an up and coming artist who was just on the cusp of like breaking out, like a XXX Tentacion or Nipsey, when they never got to that legendary status. Because when they died, then people are like, oh shit, like I could see, you can't help but imagine how crazy their impact would have been 5-10 years from now.
Facts.
When shit like this happens, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, so I agree with the whole thing. It's just natural when anything goes wrong, right? And obviously death is not, it's a guarantee in life, but it still feels wrong, right, when someone dies.
Yeah.
I think we naturally just go to the positive, right? Be it relationships or that job that you hated while you were there, but once you leave, you're like, damn, it was so good at that old job. Like, we just naturally try to assume the positive in anything. But yeah, I agree with that point as well about it's the up and coming rappers. It's like, yeah, the XXX, Lil Xan. You're just like, damn, these guys could have been so fucking great. Because it's the unknown, right? It's easier to hype that up. I think the same thing can be said about Mac Miller, bro. Like on a wider sense of thing. Like I don't think my bad. I don't think he got enough hype after he passed away. I know his numbers were stupid, like streaming wise. But then like it kind of just like became like, oh yeah, it sucked he died. Like, but I'm like, bro, like you listen to this fucking music, bro. Like, holy shit, we lost a fucking great. Mm-hmm. Like that one probably hurts me the most out of any of these guys who died, bro, because I'm like, yo, we fucking lost fucking actual like artists.
Yeah.
And these other guys, like, again, not to knock Nipsey or Xan or XXX, but bro, like Mac was talented, bro. Like, holy shit. I
think part of it does have to do with the circumstance of how they go, because Nipsey was shot and like people had a fucking 1,000 conspiracies about, you know, the government taking him and shit. So as soon as you put that government assassination label on anyone, then all of a sudden everyone's trying to like decipher all bodies of work and like make them seem like they were going to be this. I mean, no, not to get me wrong. I think Nipsey was like a revolutionary in a lot of different instances, but at the same time, it's too easy sometimes for people to just be like, oh, the government fucking did it. And then, you know, it makes
a gangbanger who talked about gangbanging and got gangbanged. Like, that sucks, but that's kind of what happened, bro. Like,
yeah. And most people, I think, who are close to Nipsey, like in some sort of fashion, like whether it's Wayno or even like my brother's friends who liked his manager and whatnot, I think all of them agreed it wasn't some government, you know, assassination type thing. I don't think Nipsey was doing anything so grand that, like, you know, if he had been given a year, like fucking the black community would have been completely different or whatever. I think he was just doing good. Someone got jealous for whatever reason that, you know, we'll never truly know, and he snapped and did some dumb shit and took a great man's life. And we just have to live with the fact that, you know, good people die young for whatever.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. So that's why I think like the public reacted so strongly for him, as far as like building it up, like the hype, like oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then for XXX, right? Like he died, like he was fucking not assassinated, but fucking killed in broad daylight in his car. Like, so again, it's a fucking 19-year-old child killed. And like, so again, that's why people felt more of an out thing. I think initially, like, when we found out that Mac died of an overdose, we're like, well, damn, like, well, he was sad, so
yeah,
I kind of get it.
And then some people went as far to say, like, oh, he's a junkie, like, he got what he wanted, like some evil shit. So
yeah. Like,
I think that turned some people up. I think, yeah, it's that factor of, oh, he wanted to go, so
yeah, he took his own life.
Yeah.
And then they find out there was fentanyl in it that he probably had no idea about that fucking killed him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Now that we're talking about it out loud, that's a good point. That's probably why that the Mac Miller outpour wasn't that crazy. Like after the initial, obviously, mourning of someone who's fucking less than 27 dying, which is insane.
Right.
And he has a couple fucking songs that he actually raps about that shit, bro. Like he acts like one of his songs, not to fucking decipher every lyric in fucking hip hop history, but his song Brand Name, he says, like, he's talking to his like dealer. He's like, yo, please don't mix my shit. I'm not trying to join the 27 Club. And I heard that. I was like, bro.
Damn, I don't even remember hearing that. Which song was that?
Brand Name. It's on the Good AM album.
Okay. Damn.
And then he only made it a fucking 26, bro. That is crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Again, people probably thought like, yo, he took his own life. And it's like, well, it's sad, but it's on you. So again, yeah. I get that mindset. I mean, we're fucking programmed to think a certain way, but it's still fucking sad. And just overall, like, I don't know if anyone was really hyping up XXX music afterwards. Like, I think we all, like, if you were a fan before, you were a fan after, and if you weren't a fan before, you were just maybe sad after. You didn't really become a fan. Yeah. I think people are becoming Nipsey fans after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, his music's amazing. But I really, and again, I hope that changes. Obviously, people like us talking about, but I need people to go fucking listen to like all of Mac Miller's fucking catalog, bro. That shit is brilliant, bro.
And he evolves so much, like, with every release.
It's crazy.
It's like watching somebody grow up. Like, every release is pretty much completely different from the last one.
And then, dude, that's like what you hope for your artist, right? Like the evolution.
Yeah.
And like, bro, think to where you're like, think to where we were at 5 years ago, bro. And the fact that we fucking lost him at 26, like, imagine the shit he could have been putting out, like, when he was hitting his prime, right? Because I feel like mentally you're still gonna be going through shit like you're mentally never in your prime, like you're just meant to constantly be evolving. So
right,
that's the only thing that really fucked me up, because like, again, I listen to all these guys, love hip hop, like obviously that's why we're doing this, but it was like, damn, bro, I feel like he was just the one out of those guys who passed away, like just from just a selfish point of like what I want to listen to, he was the most talented, bro. From the beats to the way he had fucking artists collaborate with him, like that shit was. Different level, bro. Different level.
Yeah, he was definitely next level.
But again, I wouldn't say he was a legend just yet. Again, that probably comes with more status of just dropping more things that are critically acclaimed, right? Because I feel like to be a legend, there's certain criteria that come with that status, right? You can't just have like a small niche pocket like
For sure.
Like, you kind of need to appeal to everyone on a certain level.
Yeah.
So I know you wanted to talk about, what are a couple things that come to mind when it's like, all right, this guy's a GOAT or a legend. Like, what are a couple things, and like, what are a couple people that come to mind as well?
This is a difficult one. I feel like, as much as I want to have like 3 to 5 criteria that have to be check mark for you to be called a legend or not, I think there's a lot of artists who've had an insane impact on the game, but not necessarily have had a classic album. For instance, one that comes to mind is Drake. I've seen a debate between, if whether or not he's even had a classic album, but in my personal opinion, think Drake's a legend because for the past 10 years, he's influenced the sound of hip hop so much that it's impossible to ignore the impact he's had.
Right.
So when I ask myself if someone's a legend, my kind of criteria I go off of, which is still kind of loose, is if that person never existed, would the state of hip hop as we know it be significantly different in some way?
That's a good way.
So like T-Pain, for instance, I don't think most people would consider him like a hip hop legend, but I feel like his
impact, that whole
auto-tune stuff,
yeah, dude, that shit,
yeah, like it completely changed the game. So I don't think when people think of legend, sometimes think of like lyricism or content, but I think it's if you have a wide impact on the sound of hip hop or just the state of hip hop in general. So that's why when I think, and if you've had an era as well, like 50 Cent or slash G Unit had an era. Lil Wayne had an era. So these artists, I mean, it's arguable whether they had classic albums or not, but I think regardless, their influence is just so insane. You can't even not include them in that conversation.
Yeah.
So I think a classic album kind of puts you in that category automatically. Like you can't say Nas isn't a legend. I think Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City is regarded as a classic. But then on the same token, you know, Drake and people like that where the classic album is a debate, I think you have to put them in that category too, because they definitely have and continue to have eras that are just changing everything.
Changing everything, bro. So I would say legend for me. I'll drop like 3 or 4 names in a second, but I think as far as like criteria, I feel like you have to have at least one classic album, bro. Like one that we can just bump cover to cover, and I'm skipping maybe one track, right? That's legend status for me. And then I feel like you have to be in multiple eras. Like you are relevant in multiple eras, right? Because fucking Jay-Z started in fucking the mid 90s, and if he drops an album tomorrow, I'm fucking down that shit immediately. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's fucking lasting multiple eras. Like,
so do you consider an era like 5 years, 10 years?
I would say 5 years.
Okay. Because for instance, Lil Jon is another one, and I know people don't really fuck with the snap like Dirty South music, but I feel like that era was like all hip hop was. So in my mind, he was a legend because he ran this shit for
I agree with
years
that.
Or whatever it was.
That's a good point. Yeah, so if you were the head of your era, that probably should be caveat too. Like he was the head of that whole like ATL fucking movement in like the fucking early 2000s. Yeah. But like Drake fucking started as fucking the mixtape guy with fucking Lil Wayne and became the guy, bro. But he went through fucking multiple fucking, you know what I mean? Like he was always relevant, bro. Like that's fucking insane to do. Like insane. And who else? And another fucking artist that just comes to mind is bro Kanye. Like dude, Kanye fucking started out when all these rappers just want a fucking girl sing on a fucking beat and a rapper rapping. Like, you know, he came from that to what he is now. Yeah. Dude, that is insane.
I think he's like the easiest person to call a legend. His influence is way too insane. Obviously College Dropout, like everyone hands down says is a classic.
He has classics, bro.
Multiple. But College Dropout, I think it's like the undeniable one. Like I don't like people who hate Kanye will probably say that's a classic.
100%. But like his shit ages well. We were talking about this a couple episodes ago about Life of Pablo. For me, like that shit ages well. I guess more because he's doing more of the Sunday service stuff, and you can see that in Life of Pablo, he was going in that direction. Like you hear the focus on like Christian, like that wavelength.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a classic to me. But yeah, for me, bro, it's honestly like it's longevity in the game, which is hard to do. And I feel like you're only gonna do that if you are putting out quality material. And to put out quality material, bro, you have to have a consensus from the people that says, yo, this guy has at least one classic album. Or whenever you put shit out, I don't want to say he or she because there's women, there's female, like Missy Elliott's a fucking legend to me.
Oh, for sure.
Like legend.
And she just released a track too.
Was it a track or a full album?
Might have been both. It was called Throw It Back. I know that's what the song was called.
I gotta check that out because I love Missy Elliott. Love Missy, bro. Like legend. But yeah, man, like you have to have at least one or like your shit comes out and people know like, yo, we're not just gonna listen to it and move on. You know what I mean? Like that's key. Like too many artists these days just fucking putting shit out. Again, this goes back to like our first episode about like the whole like streaming industry that's fucked everything sometimes. But like they're putting it out and like, all right, if it flops, it flops, whatever, it's a mixtape. Whereas like, yo, like proper artists, like, yo, we're not putting anything out unless we actually think it's good quality music, which is, I feel, legendary in itself.
For sure.
So I would say Drake, Jay-Z, Kanye are like my three just fucking like, bro, legendary, bro. And this might be blasphemous, bro, but fuck it. We're going viral. Yo, I love fucking Tupac to death, bro. And I was from New York, but I rep fucking Tupac compared. Like I was always siding on Tupac. Like just that was my guy. But bro, I've seen like his documentaries. Like he always had the back of his mind he was gonna die. Like that's like a fact. Like you can see him freaking out about it, bro. But that led to a lot of mediocre music being put out. Like a lot. Like there's a lot of albums he had, bro, that I'm like skipping. Like, but again, when he found it, and like you can see the skill there, so he obviously he's a legend. Like he's a fucking, it's him, and I get that. Like I'm not debating that.
Yeah.
But as far as actual quality content that we got from him, bro, I honestly don't think it was what people think it is when they say, "Oh my God, Tupac," is bro.
Yeah.
He like, there's videos of him like, "Yo, go in the studio, let's put it together, put it out." I'm like, bro, that's not how this works, bro.
Right.
Like, fucking like think about.
I mean, that's fair, and I think people are afraid to criticize him because when it comes to hip hop, he's like basically one of the gods of hip hop.
Yeah, he's on the Mount Rushmore. I get it.
If you say his music's not the best thing on the planet, people are gonna look at you crazy. But I think it's similar to Nipsey. Like I don't particularly think Nipsey was making the hottest music ever, but I think it was his influence and just persona. And I think people love Pac as a person and not necessarily his music. Obviously, he has several iconic songs that would get played around the world.
Several. Like I'm telling you, when he got that shit right, he got that shit right.
Yeah.
But I think people like the idea of Tupac more as opposed to, oh, fucking this album was the greatest album of all time. It's like,
yeah.
So that's a good point. So I was talking about legends though. We've been talking about a couple relative like pop news recently. This whole Jay-Z thing, bro, with the NFL. So like, what's the take in LA out there? Like, what are people saying about it?
Honestly, like I personally never think too much about these situations just because, one, I try not to let what celebrities do fuck up my day. Like,
right.
Jay-Z's a businessman. Shit like this is gonna happen regardless. There's always gonna be powerful white men he's fucking signing a check with. So I don't know what the uproar is about. I think the first thing that did come to mind though was some hypocrisy, just because some people claimed, or at least the message was that he was trying to persuade Travis Scott to not do the Super Bowl performance. Obviously, he criticized Kanye about the whole Trump meeting and stuff. And then now with this partnership, it's looking like he's basically saying, all right, like time has passed. Now we can combine forces with the quote unquote like evil white man.
Right.
I think people are just like, oh, he just wants to check. And I think the reason why I'm not up in arms is I don't really have the details of like what's going down, what sort of impact this is going to have. So
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah. So I'm like, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. And if fucking, 2 years from now, nothing's changed, then we can point the finger. But like, I'm a advocate for quote unquote, negotiating with the enemy if you want to make change, because like, clearly the boycotting stuff hasn't really done a whole lot except create a us versus them sort of mentality. And then the whole message behind kneeling was lost. I don't even think the average person knew what the fuck it was about after since the last Super Bowl. Like most people think it's about the flag, originally it was about police brutality. So I think it's just so many different people with their own motives trying to fucking make something of this, and it's just gotten so complicated at this point. Like I think we just need to move past it and implement the change that we want to see. I don't think people even know what change they want. They just want to get angry at somebody so that they can point the blame when they're pissed off.
Yeah, and like not focus on the shit in their life for like 5 minutes.
Yep.
My
chicken sandwiches.
Fucking Popeye bastards. Yo, but I swear to God, I really hope I don't fucking go buy one, bro. Like I don't want to give in to that shit.
I know we're talking all this shit. As soon as we have one, we'll probably promote it on the next episode.
I'm like, yo, this is the best fucking sandwich. No, but on the Jay-Z thing, man, like I honestly think we need to fucking wait to fucking pass judgment. Like, first of all, this guy has done so much for everybody. Like, just fucking like, yo, any fucking hip hop artist is in trouble, bro. Jay-Z just figures this shit out and they're okay. Like the whole 21 Savage thing, like, bro, my dude got fucking deported. And then, Rock Nation's on the phone. All right, he's back. Like, clearly he cares about the culture to a certain extent. Like, I don't know his fucking life, but everything he does is about fucking pushing the fucking, like, how to empower black men to be fucking more than themselves and not get stuck in the fucking system that's, like, geared to fuck them over eventually. So, just fucking wait. And then also, like, all right, maybe he didn't want to do the halftime show last year, but he fucking owned Rock Nation Sports. Half those fucking players are football players. So clearly he's already fucking doing business with the NFL. So he's not boycotting the NFL. Like, so, like, dude, like, just fucking, I would just say, if you don't have a fucking, like, horse in the race, just fucking hold on before we assume this guy's fucking turning his back on the fucking black community. Like, bro, like, calm the fuck down. Like, but that's saying that every fucking African-American football player is fucking turning their back on, like, get
right.
Yo,
and that's the thing.
Like,
people were like, you guys aren't boycotting your favorite NFL player for not kneeling, so why all of a sudden are we boycotting Jay-Z? And I think they just think he's doing it for this massive check that we don't know about.
But even if he is, like, let's see what happens, though, bro. Like, what if, like, he becomes the first black owner? Like, holy shit, that's a fucking revolutionizing thing. Now they're not fucking reporting to some fucking racist white guy. Now you have fucking Jay-Z as, like, this could be the most tremendous deal that ever happened in sports history. Like, let's fucking see what happens.
And this kind of reminds me of, there was this story I saw. It was like a TED Talk. And this musician named Daryl Davis, he actually kind of infiltrated the KKK. And I say infiltrated lightly just because he wasn't like in a fucking Klan's outfit trying to pretend he was white. But he spoke to the Imperial Wizard or whoever and like befriended him over time and like would get invited to meetings and stuff. It is wild too, because like,
wait, is that what the movie's based off? Black Klansman?
No, but this is similar. Well, okay. I guess it's different because this guy wasn't pretending to be white. He was straight up black. He would show up to the rallies and shit, and it was wild because one second the wizard would go on stage and be like, the white man has to take back everything from the niggers and shit, and then he'd hop off stage and like dap up the black dude and be like, go grab lunch like nothing happened. And eventually the white dude like denounced the Klan and like gave up his hood and everything. And
oh shit,
he basically was like, if I can't hate this guy, why am I hating every black person for no reason? So
yeah.
And that's a more extreme example, but I feel like stuff that Jay-Z and I guess Kanye were trying to do is similar in the sense that we have to integrate in some way if we want to implement change, whether or not we like being next to these so-called old racist people.
Yeah, dude, like a phrase that I always use that even I get mad at myself about using it sometimes, but you got to fucking play the game. Like, at least, like you said, you have to have fucking dialogue. If it's going to be I hate you, you hate me, then we're never going to fucking meet halfway. It's all right, dude, I have my point of view, you have your point of view. Let's figure this shit out where we can both kind of win. So this could be this could not be the first step, but at least it's fucking something. Like we're just gonna fucking just say, oh, we're gonna say like, oh, kneel. Like, what the fuck is that? That's done nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't done anything.
Well, so like, I thought it was dope when it first happened, but over time I was like, I felt like it lost its meaning.
And because your point, what you said earlier was like people just didn't understand people were just getting mad about the idea of kneeling. Yeah. And that's what they focused on, right? The initial intent was phenomenal. Like, yo, this is against fucking police brutality, and a fucking country who says black men are free will not fucking free. I get that. But then it became a fucking just off the fucking radar, like a fucking thermostat of like, all right, how much do you love America? Well, if you're kneeling, you can't love America that much. It's like, bro,
like literally that's all it was is, are you happy with America or not? And people are like, all right, you're kneeling, so fuck you. Like, get out of our country.
Bro, like I saw videos, remember, like on fucking YouTube of like people, like fans kneeling at fucking sporting events and like getting the living shit kicked out of them. I'm like, bro, like what the fuck?
Damn. While they're kneeling too?
What was that?
Getting the shit kicked out of them while they're kneeling?
So like there was one video.
Fucking kneed right in the face?
No, not like that. But I think I saw someone get like kicked in their stomach while they were kneeling. Damn. And I was like, yo, they were like, get the fuck up. And he's like, nah, man, like I'm not. And they like kept kicking him. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
I could understand why you'd be annoyed, but you really fucking give that much of a damn to kick somebody in their ribs over a fucking protest?
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. The shit went left quick on the overall movement. So again, it's not the people of the movement's fault, but if you see like your message isn't getting across the way you want it to, then you fucking change it up and you go a different route to still achieve the same thing. So like I give Jay-Z the benefit of the doubt, like he's gonna achieve everything he wanted to achieve before, just maybe going about a different way now. So
society's so wild. when you think about it, it's literally a piece of art that symbolizes an artificial border, and people are getting their asses kicked because they're kneeling and not basically standing for an arrangement of sounds.
Facts.
Like, when you think about it, that's fucking crazy.
Dude, people get butthurt over nothing these days, bro.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Like everything's a fucking issue. And it's just like, bro, we're fucked. Like, yo, stop being so sensitive, bro.
Crazy.
Like, why are we so sensitive right now?
I have no idea.
Oh, man. I mean, that's pretty much everything you want to talk about, bro. Like, is there anything else you want to let the people know about before we sign out today?
Not really. I mean, on that note, just don't be so fucking sensitive. And if you do have something to say, put it in the comments. We'll respond. I think these topics I'm always willing to have a debate and admit if I'm wrong, or at least be willing to accept other opinions and potentially change mine. So definitely comment, share, like. Love to hear what you guys think about all these topics.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. But yeah, man, you can't be afraid to fucking hear the other side of the story, I guess, is the overall theme of, not the overall theme of this podcast, this episode, but like, kind of like, yo, there's two sides to everything, right? Like, like fucking, hey, like on one day Chance Rapper sucks, next day he's great. So hey, you gotta just change your mind sometimes.
Time will tell everything, or heal.
Or exactly. So all right, my brother. So that's episode 4 in the books. Audio Theory. The marathon continues. See you next week.
Let's get it.